What's going on? Welcome back to another TradeOut's technical analysis. It's been a little while since my last video, so I wanted to kind of give you an update on Bitcoin dominance. Check out, see what that's doing. We're gonna take a look at Bitcoin, and I had a Telegram request come through for Bnb Usdt, so we are gonna take a look at those. Let's get to the charts. So before I get started, I just wanted to take a second to thank everybody who's here. You know, I'm at almost 8,800 subscribers on YouTube, which is insane considering I just started a couple months ago. So that definitely means a lot. You know, seeing all of the people subscribing every day, that's really cool to see. And I've been pretty busy lately. I had some friends and family come into town. I've been working on quite a bit of content for Discord and Telegram that's coming up this week. I have some really cool announcements that I will share in a couple of days. But I just wanted to say thanks to everybody. But I'm going to start off here on Bitcoin dominance. You see, we hit this critical level. So this is actually a really good day for me to do a video because I had said, like, I've covered Bitcoin dominance now off and on for the past couple of months. And, you know, you see, we really had just, you know, this is a pretty crazy move to the downside. Altcoins have been having just, you know, it's definitely been all season. Altcoins doing phenomenally well, especially against Bitcoin. And you know what? We did hit this really important level today. And you can see kind of the reaction, right? So look at the rest of the candles that you see. You know, we come down to this really important yearly level, literally bottom out right here at this S2 monthly pivot. And you can see this candle. I mean, this is a pretty huge candle. So this tells me that, you know, this definitely is an area of interest. We came back up, so it's kind of funny, right? So we came right down to our S2 monthly pivot, which is the support, and then you have your resistance, which is actually your Tenkin. So this is your daily Tenkin. Looking at Ichimoku here, so he came up and tapped this Tenkin and kind of rejected off of it as well. So we're kind of just sitting right here in the middle. But kind of what this tells me, you know, I don't put like a whole ton of weight on this, but this does tell me like we are at a very important level. So it's going to be interesting to see kind of what happens as we come off. Like, how does this candle close today, which we still have, you know, over 17 hours before the thing closes. But, you know, there's a lot of things that can happen for sure. But we had quite a bit of volatility. So I'll be kind of curious to watch this going forward over the next couple of days to see, you know, kind of what direction, you know, dominance could potentially head. And really, to be honest with you, it's been, you know, you look here, it's been basically straight down. This is a very bearish trend, which has been, again, altcoins definitely benefiting overall. But it wouldn't surprise me to take, you know, I wouldn't actually mind seeing Bitcoin dominance creep up here a bit. Like if we come back up, even maybe, you know, test something maybe around this 53 level. We got a bit of a bounce in here. Obviously, like for altcoins, it wouldn't be, you know, altcoins paired against Bitcoin, not going to be very good. But it could help kind of reset things a little bit. I think it would be a little healthier, I guess you could say, if we had kind of a little bit of a retracement here before ultimately another leg down. Like, do I think that this is the bottom as far as Bitcoin dominance? Like, as judging by the way that this has been, I don't see that this is like likely an ultimate bottom here. But I do think that this could be an area for a bit of a reversal. So that wouldn't surprise me. This is a really good candidate for, you know, a potential reversal, kind of push back up again, maybe even all the way up to this quarterly SR level here around 53. But ultimately, so if, you know, I'm going to turn this onto a weekly now because it's a little bit easier to see the overall kind of the bigger picture, right? So here's your yearly level. And again, we kind of wick through your 786 here. So this is a really important level, but kind of what I'm looking for to happen is I really want to see Bitcoin dominance get to these lower levels. Like I want to see it start to push, you know, April 2018 levels. And then obviously like when you had your blow off 20K top back in, you know, December 2017, and you can see like that marked the low for Bitcoin dominance. I really would like to see this challenge these levels and even lose these levels. I mean, kind of like the way that you can think about it too is, you know, they're significantly more altcoins. Like the number of altcoins that are in existence today, like it's drastically larger. I mean, it's a drastically larger market than it was in even 2017, if that makes sense. So like coming down to take these lows, it wouldn't surprise me at all. Like that is kind of what I would be looking for to happen, to be honest with you. So like this yearly level is very important. And again, I do think it's possible that we actually put in a bit of a reversal here, at least stall out, you know, kind of like a similar price action to right here. But I think like this would be like a decent area to actually take a bit of a pause, maybe even pop back up a little bit before, you know, we kind of continue south here. But these are kind of the two levels that I'm really, you know, like, so the yearly level was one that I was definitely watching for reaction to see what happens, you know, when we approach this levels. So far, you know, it shows signs like this could be a level of, you know, a short-term reversal, but it's really these two levels. Like I'm looking for it to dip down a bit more, and honestly even break, you know, maybe even make a new all-time low before it kind of marks, you know, like I don't want to say the end of alt season, but it's really like that's a time to be really careful, in my opinion. Like, not financial advice, but that's a time to kind of get really cautious, you know, especially if we start breaking new lows here. That's going to be a sign to me to like start to get prepared to make adjustments to my portfolio. Like that's just what I'm going to be looking at doing. Obviously, like, you know, I have the privilege of doing this full time, and I have, you know, all the time in the world really to be looking at the screens and, you know, checking in and, you know, every day and monitoring and that stuff. So that's something that I'll be paying attention to. But I just kind of wanted to share with you kind of what I'm thinking. Okay, you know, as far as you know, what I'm looking for. But you know, anyway, this is Bitcoin dominance. Spent a little bit more time on it than I would have liked to, but I just wanted to give you an update. Consider we did come down and actually test this yearly SR level. This is a really big level. So you see us start to lose this again, then I really do think we're going to come, you know, we'll come back and test these lows very likely. Which again will be tremendously beneficial for altcoins. So I'm going to shift gears into Bitcoin over here, and I just wanted to kind of show you, like, this has basically been the sideways consolidation that we've been in. You know, I'd say that the range started February 21st. This is about like this is when I would say the range started, and then really like you just have this sideways price action, you know, for a few months now. And that's been very beneficial for altcoins. So like as far as, you know, people, you know, I mean, as far as like people are getting really bearish. That's what I noticed, you know, and like it's kind of, people just got, you know, I think this was about a 10% move to the downside, which is, I mean, that's not a small move, but it's also not anything super crazy or anything like that, right? But I mean, you know, this was enough, you know, for those of you trading, or, you know, using trading bots, for my, you know, from my other trading series, like this definitely helped you fill some safety orders. Some of you, maybe if you're running a bit more aggressive, maybe you're panicking a little bit, but overall in the grand scheme of things, you can see like this price action here, it's nothing that's out of the ordinary, right? Very much in line with everything else that we've seen. Now you go back to, you know, an April 17th drop, you see like a drop like this is a drop, you know, like this is more like, this is going to be, you know, I mean, it's really, like, you know, you come from your 65K high down to your 47K low. I mean, that was a drop, you know. But just from today, I think we had a 10% move from the high to the low here, which again is a really nice trade if you're able to catch that. But it's nothing that's really out of the ordinary if you zoom out and kind of look at things from a higher time frame perspective. Now, 4-hour chart is not a high time frame perspective, but I think it's probably a lot higher than, you know, I'd see a lot of people focus on, that's at least in Discord from what I'm reading. But anyway, just wanted to show you, like, we're basically in a sideways consolidation. You're very much like, as long as you're trading this range, you know, you're taking it, you know, value area low, point of control, value area high. Like these are very well defined areas in my opinion. Like even when you come up here to value area high, I mean, look at this, resistance, you break through here. So you have your resistance test, then you break through, you back test it, come up, aren't able to capitalize on that, and you kind of work your way down. Look at this, and you get acceptance below value area high, and then boom, you get your flush. Like this is very well defined levels, and these are, again, like these will change slightly as you know, you have more and more price action, essentially. Like the more price action that you have, sometimes you'll see these levels kind of vary slightly, and you'll make little adjustments. But I can tell you that like these levels are incredibly well respected. So if you look at the value area high, you look at this support resistance line that's right here, incredibly well respected. Like look at this. This is your high. And again, I already went through this piece of price action, but very, very well respected. If we come back up to test 61.3 area again, you bet I'm going to be watching that for a trade. Like, you know, I'm going to be paying very close attention to see what's going on when we approach this level again at some point. And then obviously your value area low here, another very important level. Even, you know, going back to here, you know, like you take a look at it, your support, perfect test right here, really nice move off. Another really nice test back to your point of control. So if I zoom in for you a little bit, yeah, so again, value area high to value area low, back to point of control. Like this is really good range trade right here. Like this is, if you know your levels, you can do very well trading these very, very well. But again, kind of where are we at now though? So we didn't quite come back down to the value area low and test this. I mean, this is what I consider this a test. I mean, it's close enough, honestly. I mean, you're within a few $100. Like this is pretty close. And you know, you're kind of making higher lows here, which is good. Like this looks pretty constructive, you know, as far as this price action goes. This looks pretty decent. But as far as like, if, you know, for me to think that Bitcoin is going to have a chance to really like take another leg up here, you got to clear the point of control. Like you got to get back above your point of control, get above this level. And then I think, you know, again, you could come back up, maybe test 60K, 60,000, 60,500, something like that. I have some other levels marked out. But to the downside, your value area lows is a very important range level that you do not want to lose. So you don't want to, well, I mean, it's not that you don't want to lose it. It's just like, it's a really important support level. And, you know, it wouldn't surprise me again if you lose it to get kind of like another flush down and test some lower levels here, which we can try to identify what might be an interesting, you know, what might be a potential level. So what I'm going to do is the first thing that I'm going to do, I'm trying to think if I should do the rest of the levels first, or if I should just turn on Ichimoku. Let me turn on Ichimoku. Do that first. So what do you see? This is kind of interesting, right? So we did get our bearish TK cross here. This happened last week. And like, so this is kind of like the first bearish sign that we've seen. You know, you look overall this entire run up, and you're like way back here. You're talking at 11,300, which is a very, like, that was a very, very critical level back in October. It was literally 11,300. I remember that very well. But that was, once you broke 11,300, that was like the catalyst that got everything going, right? Like that was a really big level. But it's been insanely bullish the entire way up. Now you're getting your first sign here that's kind of saying, like this is a change of behavior, right? So like we got your first bearish TK cross. Now the thing about it is the cloud is still very much bullish. I'm still bullish, you know, macro bullish. I want to make it clear. I'm very much macro bullish, but like on an intermediate time frame or low time frame, those things can obviously change quite a bit. But this kind of tells me like to be careful, right? We're very, especially today, like we're in a really interesting place that we haven't been in a while. Like there's some trade setups that could potentially show themselves depending on where price closes over the next couple of days. So really today. So I'll tell you from a bearish standpoint. Here's what I want to see, because I don't want to be bearish. To be honest, it's much nicer when things just go up, right? Like that's what we want. But if this was to happen, I would short term definitely be bearish, and honestly, I would say midterm. You know, I would say over the next few weeks, you definitely could see some downside, I guess you could say. But it would cause me to be pretty bearish. Is if we got another close inside a cloud. So you see how we got that close inside a cloud here? So here's another thing, right? Like this hasn't happened the entire run up. Like we haven't really even got close to testing the cloud. Now again, this is totally fine. And the thing is, you got your closure inside a cloud here, but you can see that you were still bullishly crossed. And what happened? Price spiked back up, you know, and you're kind of like, we're still chopping around back in our old range. So this was a reason, like this was one of the reasons why I actually took a long off of this level. So this is one thing that I had talked about back here, whenever that was in April, end of April. This was a really nice area, but now you do have your bearish TK cross. So what I would be, not that what I'm, again, this kind of what I would be looking for is if you do get a close inside a cloud. So like knowing that your value area low is a really important support. Look at where your Tenkan is. Well, that's strange. It happens to be sitting basically right on the value area low, which is another indicate, you know, that's another form of confluence. They're telling you like this is a very, very important level. So if today's candle were to close, and let's say we take out this low, we close below value area low, that would be a problem for me. Like I think I would say, well, like statistically speaking, when you have this setup play out, so basically, you know, you have your bearish TK cross, you have your closure inside a cloud, you have your Chico span, which is this purple line back here. So your Chico span is below price. This is a trade setup that tells you to look for the opposite edge of the cloud. So that's kind of your, like this would be your entry trigger. If you had a closure inside a cloud, bearish TK cross, I would be looking for somewhere along this other end of the cloud, which you can see, like it is literally, you know, you're talking low 40K, 43K, up to 47K, something like that. Like this is, you're kind of looking for the edge of the cloud here. But a closure like inside a cloud wouldn't necessarily do it for me. I mean, technically, I guess you could say that would be, technically that would be a signal. But really, I'd want to see it lose value area low as well. I would want to see it like close, you know, below value area low and below your Tenkan. And that could be a really nice entry, a short entry. And you would be looking for the opposite edge of the cloud. So that like, and kind of what that would tell me is like, if those criteria are met, statistically speaking, like this is a decent short trade to the downside. And, you know, like we'd be looking for some downside, which could take a couple weeks to play out. Who knows how long it could take, right? But that's essentially what I would be looking for a bearish scenario. Now, do I think that's going to happen? It's really hard to say because for me, again, like my priority here, I would say it's more about, I'm more concerned about specifically trading these range levels than I am trading this setup. Now, if this setup presents itself, I'll probably take it. But I'm more like the level that's more important to me, again, is this value area low level to the downside and this point of control to the upside, because this is literally the two, you know, these are your two closest range levels. If you break your point of control, then I would be looking for higher again. And, you know, that's kind of how I do that, kind of like how I range trade, right? So now I will say, from an Ichimoku standpoint, one thing that would be very, very bullish to me. So I gave you the bearish scenario. So let's say price closes, you know, below your value area low today. So you're just going to close inside a cloud, below value area low. I would be looking for probably 43K, something like that. That would be my guess. And we can turn on some other levels here. In fact, I'll just do it right now. So I have my other SR levels right here. So I'm just turning them on. So you see these other SR levels that popped on there. If I lost, you know, if Bitcoin loses your value area low, these are your next targets, at least for me. So very much now, this is kind of sitting, you know, we've already kind of tested these levels. I would think that we get a pretty nice reaction off of 49K is initially. We could get a really nice pop, but I do think we come back. So you see how this weekly level at 45K is lining up kind of with, like, you know, you see where it intersects the cloud here. This is an area where I would kind of be looking for. So you have your high, your low. This would be a lower high. You know, I would be looking for us to come down, test these lower levels, 43, 45K, something like that, if the bearish scenario were to play out. And another thing that, which by the way, altcoins, we're getting a bit of relief here. Some nice bounces incoming. So for those of you running your bots, hopefully your Bitcoin, actually, we're taking a bit of a bounce here, which is really good. So I'm going to turn on my Pitchfork. This is another thing this pitchfork I've had for months and months. Like, this is a really good pitchfork. But this is a very high term time frame pitchfork. So I'll zoom out just so you can see it. Let me turn Ichimoku off. So again, this is on log scale, but this is literally your December 2018 low, 3K low, up to your $14,000 high, down to your, coronavirus March 2020 crash. So this is literally the points of this pitchfork, and it's done very, very well so far. Like, I'm not going to go through all of this stuff because I've already done that in some of my other videos. But one thing that I wanted to do is to kind of see like where the pitchfork also intersects, right? So like if we get this closure inside of cloud below your value area low, I will tell you one interested area that I'm already looking at would be right here. And again, this is a 45K, but this is the 0.38. This is the 382 of the pitchfork. This is your weekly level. It's pretty close to the opposite edge of the cloud here. Like, this is kind of a general zone that I would be targeting if I did get this set up. So this would kind of be your entry, target, stop loss would be, it's basically below, or I guess it would be above cloud here. So it's kind of like this is definitely a swing trade type of setup here. Just kind of walking you through like what it would look like. But that's kind of like how I would arrive at that target. Okay. I'm going to turn the pitchfork off. Turn log scale off and go back. So that was a bearish scenario. Now the bullish scenario, which I would much prefer to play out, just because like I said, I'd rather things go up, right? Everybody's happy when things go up. No, not many people are happy when price goes down. I'm a trader. I don't really care that much. But I do have quite a, I have a pretty decent altcoin portfolio. I just like for things to continue doing what they're doing. I'm very happy with how everything's playing out. But anyway, kind of what I would look for, as you can see, so we got our bearish TK cross. Price is still above cloud, okay? And you can kind of see like the forecaster is showing, it's like hinting, saying, like over the next 4 or 5 days, it's looking to kind of come back and try to recross here. Now that would be really good. So if price is able to maintain above cloud, so this is another support level, right? So if price kind of runs into cloud and is able to stay above cloud and allow this Tenkan to have time to come back and catch up to potentially have a bullish recross, that could be very good. Like that could be like if I saw that happen, and basically again, so like if price kind of moves sideways to up over the next week or so, allows your Tenkan to catch up and eventually bullishly cross your Kijun again, that would say to me, like that would say that like I would give more merit to not only coming up to test this value area high again, but like that could be an early indication that tells me we might be ready to break this range, which would be kind of exciting. Because if that does happen, so like if I got this bullish TK cross and we're up here testing 61, 62,000, something like that, that would like I would likely be looking higher at that point. Like I would be ready to say, hey, like here I think we're at what, 66,000. So like if I got this bullish TK recross and we start pushing higher, 66,000, and I think the next level, so R2 monthly pivot here is basically 75K. Yeah, I think 75K. So that's kind of what I would be looking for. Now, if Bitcoin just continues to range here, which it definitely could, there's nothing, I like I said, I put more, like when I see this type of price action, I very much am more trade the range, right? So like I like to use Ichimoku to find, I guess you could say, like important support levels or important resistance levels. But when we start really ranging sideways here, I definitely am more like I'm trading the range. I'm trading, my horizontals. I'm not trading Ichimoku as much. I'm just kind of keeping an eye on it, if that makes sense. But that's kind of what I see. That's a bearish scenario, which could see us down here at 45K, maybe even a bit lower. Wouldn't surprise me. And the bullish scenario is, we get that bullish TK recross, we approach value area high again, and we that gives us a legitimate shot to break this range and push for another new all-time high. What's the more likely thing to do, and it wouldn't bother me, is if we just continue to trade the range. Honestly, if we just continue to kind of go sideways here, even for another month, 2 months, something like that, I wouldn't be complaining about it. Because again, I think altcoins will continue to have, I think altcoins will continue to have like a nice environment. They've been running really well. And then, for Bitcoin, for trading, I don't like this. I don't want to say that it's easy, but like your levels are very well defined. It gives you really good risk reward to take your trades. So that's essentially Bitcoin in a nutshell. All right, so this is Bnb USDT. So I am doing this for, let me pull this up. Let me get the name right. Tom over in Telegram asked me about Bnb USDT, and I was getting ready to actually do the video. So I told him I would just cover it while I'm here. So this one's for you. But anyway, Bnb, very bullish. I mean, obviously, you turn on Ichimoku, like, this is very bullish. This is insanely bullish. I don't need to be a genius to tell you that. But, I would say but like, we are kind of starting to form this sideways consolidation here. So if you go down to, a lower level, it's very much forming, this sideways range here. We got a really big wick to the downside, though. I mean, this is when Bitcoin was dropping. That's actually quite the wick. That's quite the wick. I think a lot of altcoins, though. A lot of altcoins. So like I took a couple of trades. I didn't get as good of entries as I would have liked because I was a little late getting to my, I was actually on my laptop at the time, and I was trying to get everything. I was trying to log into the exchange and hurry up, and like it was a little bit too late, but I still made, still had a couple okay trades. But I definitely wasn't in position. Like there was quite a few altcoins that kind of had this really long wick to the downside, and gave some really nice scalp entries. But very much the same as Bitcoin, I would say, like kind of what I just got done talking about. Like you have like a pretty decent range. I would definitely, like with BNB, it's a little easier for me to say it's bullish, because again, you look at the overall trend, it's very much up. I mean, you have just from April 22nd, so like the last few weeks, it's literally been up, forming this sideways consolidation. And, again, you kind of probably got a lot of stops taken out. Anybody who's, over leveraged got liquidated here. Anybody trading on futures, like this is, this is kind of like what happens when you get those flushes down, right? But right now, you can see that price is actually pushing back above the point of control of the range. So as long as you're above the point of control of range, naturally 660, the value area high 661, that's kind of your next target that you'd be looking for. So this looks pretty good for a bit of continuation to the upside. And even here, like you can see your value area low. You got this crazy long wick. Again, a lot of altcoins had similar price action to what you see here. But you get, so you get your closure inside, and then you get your value area low test, and it's pushing up. So right now you're above your point of control. As long as you're above your point of control, value area high is kind of the next area, 660. And again, Binance or BNB, very bullish. Looks good. I don't think it's really stopping here. There's really no reason to think that. First sign, lose your value area low. Then you can kind of start to look at lower levels. Let me switch to a daily. And really, like, if you just look at this candle, like, what a crazy candle. I mean, what's it like? I'm curious. I mean, it's a 15% from top to bottom. 15% in a day. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. But really, I think whichever, it's kind of like whatever side of this candle gets taken, I think gets the follow through. I think if we take out 690, really this daily level here is 680-ish. This is a pretty big level. You throw on all the pivots already on. Yeah, your monthly pivot's way down here at 520. But really, like, I think if you take out, 680, 690, you're going up. It's I don't see, what is it, 740 kind of be a next area that, I think if you take out the top of this wick here, 740 is probably next. It's very bullish though. If you take out the low of this, you would likely be losing your value area low, obviously. And then things would start to get, I would start to look for kind of deeper pullbacks. which, so you have your daily Tenkin sitting here at 570. So really, like this could be a really nice area for like a, you know, I don't want to say a scalp, but I would expect to see some kind of support sitting around 560, 570. So if you got, you know, like this could be a nice trade opportunity if we do end up kind of getting a little bit more to the downside. I'm not really leaning on that happening, kind of looking and kind of seeing what's happening right now. I think we're going to see some volatility pick up though when the stock market opens. So like with the U.S. stock market or stock market opens here about 6 hours or so, I think you're going to see a bit of volatility pick up if it's anything like it closed yesterday, because that was not that it was like a super terrible close or anything. It just there was a pretty decent move to the downside at the end of the day, and it kind of took Bitcoin with it. Crypto kind of went down overall, and you know we're kind of like recovering. I don't say recovering, but we're having a bit of a bounce back from that. But we're gonna have to. I would definitely be paying attention to what the stock market does tomorrow, and see like if we're gonna have any kind of continuation of that, which I hope not, but you never know. But again, with BNB, this looks good. I would say sideways to up. If you had to ask me, I really I don't think that this is a high. I think you're getting another similar, you know, I think you're getting another consolidation sideways before likely another push to the upside. And my target to the upside again would be 740. And, you know, I mean, just using pivots, I could go and pull some, fib extensions and look at stuff like that. But pivots are really pretty simple, easy, ways to kind of identify some potential resistances above. 860 would be another one. I think if I had a little bit more time, I'm kind of been making this video a lot longer than I like, but that's, I will definitely go in and get those targets. But let me see if there's anything else. So yeah, to the downside, 560 to 570, I think you get a really nice bounce around there if you do come down to take these level, or you come and take this low. But there is a green box here, which I like my green boxes, and I think if I got an opportunity down here at this low, I'm not at this low, but we come back down and we kind of enter this old consolidation. It's not too much of a consolidation. It's a bit of a consolidation. We kind of come back down into these levels here. That could be a really nice trade. So you have a weekly level here, daily level, depending where you came. Maybe you have some cloud support. Your daily Kijun is kind of creeping up here into this area. This could be a very nice opportunity if price takes a dip for whatever reason. So that's kind of your support resistances. I just kind of like to give levels, and that's my support resistance that's my support to the downside. And then obviously resistance to the upside is pretty simple. It looks like we're really going to push up for the 660, 661 area, see how it reacts there. But 680 is kind of your really important level. If you're able to reclaim that, I think you're going to push up for another new all-time high. Probably, I think it was 740 or something like that, the first initial target after we make a new all-time high. But I'm very much sideways to up on BNB. So hope you enjoyed the video. It's been a little bit again since my last one. I kind of had to get warmed up a little bit and get back at it. But I have a lot. I plan on doing quite a bit of, there's definitely at least 1 or 2 live streams coming this week. There's definitely going to be a couple more videos. I do have some learning modules that are going to be dropping this week. So I am going to start that. There's kind of an introductory one that will likely be uploaded tomorrow, I'm hoping. Tomorrow, definitely the day after that, the latest. But I am going to start dropping those learning modules that I've been working on for quite some time now. And I also have some really exciting news that I will be sharing later on in the week. And anyway, hope to see you there. I appreciate each and every one of you. Thanks for stopping by. Trade safe out there.